Awesome. Cool. Vanessa, thanks so much for jumping on and joining me for this chat. And we're obviously just talking a little bit there for a second about your incredible progress that six months ago or so you're doing about $200 a month with your brand in what would be considered a very, very, very competitive industry, being like baby and kids products and things like that. And then you just mentioned you ticked over an 8K month, which is just incredible. And we'll get into all the little details of what you did. But before we do, I'd love to just hear a little bit about yourself and the brand and how long it's been around, and we can sort of go from there.
Yeah, sure. My brand's called Kubai, and basically at the moment I only have one product, which are full coverage bibs for when babies first start solids. So the reason why I started the brand in the first place was we have a daughter, and she was very messy with her solids. We tried heaps of different bibs. We tried the silicone ones. We tried sleeve bibs, but I found that with every single bib that we tried, there was always kind of some issue. So, like with the silicone bibs, I found when she was very little baby, I couldn't get it like tight enough around her neck, so food would just get down the neck, or it would be like really uncomfortable, and it didn't do anything to protect her arms. Then sleeve bibs was like game changer, but they all also had gaps around the neck, and a lot of them were like, yeah, you can just wipe them clean. And so I did. And then I would end up with holes in them because it was just
Mm.
like this nylon fabric. And I like bought so many different ones trying to find one that actually didn't have a gap around the neck. And there was just nothing. So I just decided to make my own. And basically, I looked at, a bunch of other products that were out there and other kind of pain points that other people had had and things that I thought were cool on other products, and I just incorporated all those ideas and brought them together into my product. And so yeah, things have been going good. It's been growing. It's been hard because I work full time, work 4 days a week in a corporate job, 8:30 to 5, Monday
Yeah.
to Thursday, and then my daughter is 3.5, so it's pretty full on at home. So I'm very, very limited in time, and yeah, that's probably my biggest challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, some people thrive. You are clearly one of them on limited time. Like, what's that old saying? If you need something done, ask a busy person to kind of do it, because you kind of have to do the necessities and really prioritize that kind of 80/20 activities. And we are just speaking before about those levers that we will just touch on for other people's benefit as well. But the thing that I guess I'd love to know is, before you jumped in with the Ecom Blueprint program, which was that $200 sort of a month and just sort of ticking away, like what was it that sort of made you feel like you needed to get help with the business? And especially if you are like working 9 to 5, like there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't invest in, a business, for example, in a program like this. Like what was sort of going through your mind at that point?
So I am someone who always likes to improve myself. I do a lot of kind of free online courses about this and that and read a lot of books, and I guess I'm well aware of what I know and what I don't. And I do come actually from a marketing background, but it's in corporate marketing and it's in business to business. And I quickly learned that it was completely different, doing the B2C and just everything that's involved with it. And I guess I just wanted to have, like, especially given my severe lack of time, I wanted to have a structured program in place. Like, this is exactly what you should do, and this is how you should do it in this order. And that's what I got with you guys. And it's been great because it enabled me to get the foundations correct. And then before I started investing in ads and things, because before I found you guys, I had turned on some Facebook ads, and I guess I had so few sales on my website prior to that Meta wouldn't allow me to run sales objective ads.
Mhm.
And so I had to run traffic ones. So I just continued to do that and spent so much money, and I got literally zero sales.
Yeah.
Like, zero. I got all these, and the demographic that was coming to my site were all boomers. So I was getting all these people, obviously, who were like, "Oh, what a great idea! Let me have a look." And then,
Window
yeah,
shopping. It's
bye.
it still baffles me why they even have that objective available. It's like they obviously would have enough data to see that traffic objectives just don't work or drive sales. Like it's bizarre still to me. And it's one of those things, even if you were aware of running sales objectives, most people aren't, because the logic says, yeah, I want traffic to my website. Who doesn't, right? Let's run a traffic objective. And if Meta says it's cheaper to do so, then why wouldn't you sort of do it? But you probably saw some of our content and heard sort of the calls and things like that, where it's like, at all costs, do not run traffic, campaigns
Yeah.
to your site, because this is the evidence or the data behind it. If you want sales, obviously run that sales, and obviously you were hamstrung in that sense. But some people just do, because they don't know any obviously different. But then it's completely like apples and pears when you see the data and results come through. And as you said,
Mhm.
rightly, the wasted money, unfortunately, and Meta's not going to tell you not to spend, the money.
Yeah. Because you
Yeah,
can
that
see
makes,
now,
yeah,
like
yeah.
a big
Mm.
change in the demographic, coming to my site. Now it's all actually, mum age, right? Whereas before it was all 65 plus. So it's
Bizarre, yeah,
it's night and day
crazy.
difference.
Crazy, yeah. And just going back to when you did sort of decide to jump in the program, like what, apart from obviously the self-development, business development, etc., getting the shortcuts and things, did you have any like reservations about jumping into the ecom blueprint in particular, or was it pretty straightforward for you, or do you remember what it was
Oh
like?
no, it was, I mean, the price tag was definitely something that I was like,
Mm.
um, I think probably for anyone, it's an
Any
investment
sane
in
person
yourself,
for sure would
right?
think a bit about it, yeah. For sure, for
So
sure.
I think for me, just getting over that mentality was a big call, but it's been something that's like massively paid off, in terms of how much I've learned and how much I've been able to kind of fast track my business, especially given, the actual lack of time that I have to work on it. So
Mm.
um,
Mm.
I think it's definitely an investment rather than an expense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love maybe a mentor said it to me one time. I picked it up somewhere, and it always rings true. Is um, the more you pay, the more you pay attention. And so, that's why free stuff typically we're like, oh yeah, that's nice to have, and it might be like worth $1 million to you or something, but because it's free, we don't value it as such. And I just always recall that when investing in programs and masterminds myself, which I do twice a year sort of thing. And so when looking at 10K, 20K, 40K price tags, it's exactly that. It's like, well, I'm going to pay attention. It becomes your personal responsibility and mission to get that investment back and obviously make it worth it, which you've obviously just run with. And that's what's been so impressive about obviously how you've gone about things. um, what were the strategies? We were just talking a little bit before, but what were the particular strategies that you had used through the program and that you really found big leverage with? Because obviously, one of the great things about e-commerce and online is the exponential potential, right? It's like we can put an input of one and get 10 out, 100 out, whatever it might be. And that's true leverage, right?
Yeah.
And obviously that's so important to you in your case with your limited time. But what were the levers or the strategies that you particularly used to
Um,
grow your sales?
well, so first of all was focusing on the fundamentals. So getting my site as kind of optimized as possible. Obviously, it's quite hard to test, how well it's converting if you're not getting any traffic. But I did my best, and then getting all the flows and everything set up. And then, going through the information that you guys provided about like how to set up an ad and kind of the structure, of the copy and like how many ads you should be having in an ad. So like I had no idea about that, so that was just like really good. And like, the minimum spend. And then also, I had it where it was spending and it was doing really well. And then all of a sudden it stopped working. And so I was like, oh my gosh, and I freaked out. And then there was, I spoke to Kirk and he was like, hey, just like, whoa, back up a sec. Like you don't need to do this. And so it was just really, really good to have that support there because I would have just turned all the ads off and, completely
Mm,
freaked out. But he was
mm.
like, just, give it some time, like give it a couple of weeks, see how it's tracking and also, looking at I guess the ad spend as a total figure, with both like Google and Facebook. That's been really important as well because if you just like dive too deeply into just Meta, you can kind of take the wrong conclusions out of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, basically the levers that I've had is just a couple of like real winning Facebook ads that I tested until I had some that worked. And I'm still not spending that much money on them. So I'm kind of at the stage where now I'll probably just keep doing the same each month unless I
Mm.
scale up. Um, so yeah, I've done that, and then also turning on the Google Performance Max and the combination of them together. Plus, still, I'm not doing the hustle so much
Mm.
anymore on Instagram, just because I just don't have time. But I am still regularly posting and creating reels and stuff, which are getting like quite decent views on them. So yeah, I
Yeah.
am still active.
Yeah, that I mean that's a really nice mix, and particularly with the organic stuff is, it's always crucial, and the more you can do, obviously, the better. But it's particularly important when we don't have any other sort of levers, such as like the paid, especially if it's profitable, for example, because they're obviously hand in hand. And so, yeah, the content you're definitely doing is going to be feeding the paid in the sense of the algorithm loves it, and you get engagement and stuff like that. And then, of course, that's a testing ground for content that you can pop into, paid as well. So there's a multitude of benefits, but yeah, in terms of like the hours being spent on the hustles and things we talk about as well, certainly from a, like, if you don't have other levers that are working well, that's, what you got to do, pound the virtual pavement. But you're in a great position where your foundations are really solid with the product. You're obviously solving a really clear problem, which is, I love that. Tim Ferriss calls it scratching your own itch, where it's like, well, I solved a problem for me, and I'm sure there's people like me out there, and that's what sort of
Yeah.
product you've got. Because, like you said, there's no product like it out there on the market, which is a market of one. And as you said before, like, people come to you and they're like, well, how did I not find this before? This is incredible, right? And so that's just a beautiful advantage that you've obviously got. And when we pour gas on that flame that's already, lit, that's when we can explode things. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, scale I don't see is going to be an issue for you. It's going to be a confidence thing, and then obviously reading the right metrics and obviously whatnot. But so many people have gone from where you are, where you've been to where you are to that next level of, 15, 20 Ks, whatever it might be, quite easily, like in quite linearly, right? So that'll be about the next one for you, which will be, not far down the road. Just as
Yeah.
soon as we're ready to step it up.
And the
Um,
good thing is, with the program, like I know now, I know what I need to do, it's just
yeah,
now I just need to
that's
go ahead and do
awesome.
it. So
That's great.
yeah.
Yeah. That and I mean, what apart from you mentioned Kirk, you mentioned obviously a few of the modules and stuff. What is it? And you being time poor of Curls, what has been the probably the most beneficial thing for you of being part of the program, particularly?
Yeah, so I mean, I've attended a couple of the group calls, but because I'm so time poor, they fit right when I'm working my
Yeah.
corporate job. So it's been really difficult. So then most of the value that I've gotten from the program has actually been through the course content,
Yeah.
and then also just having Kirk available. Like he quite regularly reaches out to me, and then if I've got a question, I can just ask him, and he gets back to me. So that's been really helpful. But
Awesome.
honestly, like I really appreciate just how like clear and concise and to the point your videos are, because I've done, like I said, watched heaps of other kind of videos, and they always seem to just like have all this fluff, and it takes like an hour for something that actually they give you 5 minutes of value with. And I just really appreciate that you value our time, and it's just to the point. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I mean that's great feedback, and that is the exact intention because we're all so busy, and I'm the same thing. I've been through programs and stuff like that, and I remember the version one that's version three we're up to, but version one of it was quite extensive, and then I basically halved the time version two, and then halved the time again version three because yeah, straight to the point. I mean, we're all busy, and I think we've all savvy enough to understand and got enough experience to understand the concepts and everything like that. It's just like, just tell me what to do and point me in the right direction, and we're kind of good from
Yeah.
there. So that's really good to
and,
hear.
and it makes it bingeable, as well. If you want to quickly, like, you know, brush up your knowledge on something, you just go and, 7 minutes, you're up to speed. So
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah. Awesome. Love that. Just one final thing. I mean, being where you are now, having 6 months of ecom blueprint kind of wisdom behind you, for people that were or are in the position that you sort of were, bubbling at that a couple $100 or under 1,000, under 2,000, whatever their milestones are. And being on this side now, like, what would you sort of say to them? What's kind of your advice of people who are, you know, in isolation, feeling like they know they need to take the next step, but don't quite know what to look for? What would you sort of say to those people?
Um, I think obviously if you've got the money, then it's definitely worth the investment, investing in a mentor of someone, like Ecom Blueprint, someone who's been there, done it, has the experience to guide you in the right direction. Because otherwise, you can waste a lot of time and you can burn a lot of money trying to do things yourself. Obviously, don't put yourself into debt over it. I don't recommend that. But if you've got the money available, like I had a set amount of money that was for my business. Some of it's gone to stock, some of it's gone to marketing, and some of it was for this program. So um,
Mm.
it's definitely worth taking the plunge to invest in yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. No, that's beautiful. Well said, and completely agree. I mean, I think I remember the first time that I invested, it was like, I think it was, I don't know, $500 or something really small in sort of today's, context, but it was a massive decision. And I think it was a really good friend of mine who had done that same program. He said, look, I'll pay for it myself for you because I know what's on the other side and how well you do. And that was such a big decision for me at the time. But yeah, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
almost like, what was I thinking about for so long, right? If you got the money available, yeah, like get the
Yeah.
help from whatever source, but just invest in yourself and the skills, and you can't go wrong.
And I think as well, once you get more down the track, your perception on money changes as well. Like it's
Yeah,
kind of like money in, money out. Whereas before you start a business, it's like, I worked so many hours to get that, it's so hard to get. It's like you've got this scarcity mindset. And then once you start in business and you see some results, it's like, actually, I know exactly how I can make more money now. Like I just have to do this, this, and this. And it's yeah, it's completely different mindset.
yeah, absolutely. And that comes from self-development, business development, exposure too, right? Like it's again just being in an environment with people that you can kind of trust, rather than being in Facebook groups is like, oh, I don't really know what's going on here, and people doing
Yeah,
this and whatever. So yeah, knowing what's what and the reality of business is super important. I can totally relate to that for sure. The value of money and just using it as a tool. As you say, it
yeah,
comes in, it goes out, and hopefully, more's coming in than going out, obviously.
yeah,
But yeah, it makes complete sense. Well, look, thank you so much for sharing that, Vanessa. It's awesome to reflect on your journey and just celebrate. And it's a massive congratulations to the progress. And it's just I'm so confident in your next steps that you'll be amazing and continue to grow to the level that you obviously want to, and pursue any dreams and ambitions that you've got with the business. So
yeah.
congrats and thanks for
Thanks so much.
sharing that. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, all good. Thanks, Will.
Awesome.